It's 5 a.m. somewhere, so that means the garbage collectors are coming to take out the trash, but we won't throw you out.
Welcome to your Trash Pals podcast. I'm trying to get super hyped here because I'm a little sleepy. But we are coming to you live from the Trash Island in the middle of the Pacific, aka the great state of Baltimore. That's
What?
where the
Leave
state of
Maryland
Baltimore.
and Baltimore out of this. They've done nothing wrong.
Yeah, and this is a podcast where we don't know how geography works, but also comics, art, culture, and whatever little bits of trash we found while picking through the garbage bin. I'm Vannotes.
And I'm Wren.
And I'm feeling wily today. That's
I can
my
tell.
mood. That's my vibe.
That's very funny, Mr. Coyote.
I didn't get to, do a little lie down before podcasting, so you're getting the like no sleep till Brooklyn me. So
No sleep till Brooklyn. That's so funny. I took a nap. I took a hour and a half nap before, because I was like, I'm a little sleepy guy. I've been sleeping like insanely poorly lately, just like super bad. Because I'm coming off of COVID and I just moved, and I live on like up like a 2-floor walk up, and getting my like mountainous amount of crap up these stairs has caused me such anguish, such like, wow, I wish that I was fit, I wish that I stayed in the gym, um just so much anguish. So that I've been exhausted but not sleeping well. But I took a nap, and that nap was pretty satisfying. Not to, rub it in your face or anything.
That's okay. I understand. Just because I do not get to nap, I might have boomer energy, but just because I don't get to nap, I still believe other people should nap if they can.
Wholesome. Very wholesome.
Nap equity. That's my boomer stance.
Nap equity. That's so funny. I was just watching this video, a little bit of I was pre-gaming some trash about like these people who are dating, and one was like 62 and the other one was 23. A 62-year-old man, a 23-year-old woman.
Okay.
And their like TikTok name was like the cowboy and angel, the king and queen of blackjack. And like that just lives in my head now. The king and queen of blackjack. Nothing about this video told me anything about their card playing skills or their like Las Vegas intentions. I think they were both in New York. So that was my little trash pregame. The king and queen of blackjack. If I were like in a giant age gap relationship, uh where I had to monetize it for content, I think I also would say the king and queen of blackjack. Because what even is that? I don't know. I don't understand. I just love it though. I'm obsessed with it.
That's one of those things where when you have suspicions of like May December romances or whatever, and then you find out they're just both a little wacky, and you're like, oh, like that's how it works. Like you're just both a little, you both think this is a funny name. Hopefully.
Exactly. They're just both goofballs. But I also am like, there's no like they broke up very soon after they got together. This king and queen of blackjack couple. Which I think is good because there's no way. There's just no way that this was like a morally sound, ethically sound relationship. And that's like not to like shame, my age gappers out there, but also it is to shame. It is to shame them. If there's like that large of a distance in between your relationship, break up, get a divorce, break up and get a divorce right now. That's my stance.
I'm starting a new contingent of our fandom of and I'm gonna call it the Gap Pack.
The cat.
And we are all about those age gap relationships where both people are a little unhinged. That's our we all unite. The Gap Pack. There we go. That
Mm,
I can
I'm gonna
call.
have to strike that from our wiki. It's I'm not allowing it.
I'm gonna start a subreddit within a Reddit. You know, really just for the Gap Pack.
That's so funny. I'm sure when I was a young person, when I was like very young, and this is either gonna go one of two ways. This is either gonna be a really funny story, or it's gonna be
One of
like
those
oh,
oh ones. Yeah.
yeah. It's one of those things where I was like a regular child on the internet, an unsupervised child of the early 2000s on the internet, and I like I was playing this game called, it's not even really a game. It was like an online chat server called IMVU. It still exists. You where you like are you make like a avatar and stuff. And I was talking to some guy on that game who I was like 10 and he was like 22 or something like that. And I was like, okay, like this is my boyfriend, yada yada yada. But I ended up breaking up with him because I really wanted to watch Hannah Montana. And he was like, no, that's like for children. And I was 10. So I was like, I am a children. And I just want to watch Hannah Montana. And that's why I'm against age gap relationships because they will stop you from watching the good shows of your youth. They'll try to stand in the way of you and Miley Cyrus.
It's fascinating. I like got into a corner of the internet, and there's always people being like, the children, the children don't have it like us. It was the Wild West. We just like I am'd with like old people, and then all the young people are like, we were on Kick and we were talking to old people when we were 10, and it's like, oh, it just keeps going. Like,
It's like an endless cycle of just bad. Every day, I'm like, somebody should do something, but I don't know what.
yeah, it's a slippery slope of trash, a trash mountain
Honestly, bring
slope.
back Club Pain.
Oh heck no.
Heck no!
I was on
Why?
superhero wikis and
You're so funny.
a Spider-Man recap site obsessively reading about what was happening in new issues of Spider-Man, but not actually
That's
getting to read
funny.
Spider-Man.
You weren't being cool like the rest of us, being penguins on a giant iceberg.
Mm-mm.
Wow. Wow. But I guess that explains a lot. Not in a negative way, just like in a
Dang.
like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay. That's why you are the way you are. Takes all kinds. We've said it before. It takes all kinds.
So funny. If my AirPod falls out one more time, I'm gonna resurrect Steve Jobs and write him an angry letter.
Say Tim Cook's really biffing it. Come on
He's
back.
like, I have such a hard time with like earbuds in general because I have really small ears, and like these AirPods, and I haven't worn earbuds in a really long time. I think also has to do with it. But these little guys, first I had them like the on the wrong ear. Like the left one was in my right ear and the right one was in my left ear. And now I have them in the correct way, but they're still falling out. I just want peace in my life, Jace. Is that too much to ask?
You gotta tape them. You gotta tape them. You gotta get a little duct tape.
Duct tape. Oh my gosh.
A little duct tape to your ears. Ren, we haven't even launched into what trash have you been consuming this week?
Oh
What have you been
yeah.
partaking in?
That's a good question. I have been trying to catch up on RuPaul's Drag Race.
Mm.
Um That's a little bit of trash. I realized recently they don't make them make their costumes anymore as a challenge. And that made me
Oh,
sad. I miss that. I feel like a lot of trash came out of that, and I feel like they should bring it back.
do they really not? That's wild.
Yeah,
I
they
haven't
don't.
watched for a couple seasons because it has become impossible to watch. They
Yeah.
keep VH1, MTV, Viacom is they keep making it a moving target that no one can hit.
I know. It's
Um,
so annoying. I'm like, look, just let me watch this stupid thing. Just come on. I want to watch RuPaul's Drag Race and I want to watch Love and Hip Hop. And I feel like that is not too much to ask.
and I'm lazy too. I will pay for something. Like I to
Exactly.
watch RuPaul. Apparently, I gotta get Sling TV or something now to get an
Ugh.
access code to then watch it on the website of VH1. Um, it's like this is archaic. Put it on whatever Paramount Plus. Uh, Charge me a couple extra bucks for the Rutherford Falls old timey female impersonation hootenanny, as I like to call it. Um, and I'll pay my peanuts to get in, my
Truly,
nickels
not
and
to sound like a
dimes.
boomer, but they've changed so many things when. And I'm like, that's not like a big deal. And I get it. I totally get it. But at the same time, if this falls out one more time, Chase, one more time,
You're ending
I'm
the
gonna
podcast. You're
freaking
leaving
lose it.
me.
I'm gonna leave the podcast. I'm gonna quit.
You need
It's
a
gonna
little
be
like
like that, huh?
instead of wig glue, you need little AirPod glue.
I do. I need AirPod glue. I don't know what I was talking about. That AirPod falling out of my ear, it ruined my flow. It ruined my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Okay. What
Uh,
trash have you
but
been
you
consuming? What's your trash?
Oh, I want to know what queens you like. That's the most important
Oh,
thing. And do
okay.
you
So
hate
I'm
this
not watching
plain
season
Jane?
16. Huh?
So you aren't watching season 16. So apparently everyone Cookie Puss didn't like that plain Jane, and the gays, from what I can tell, do not like that one.
I need to catch up with season 16 because I only had access to season 15 when I was like trying to watch it earlier. So I'm like last year's queens I'm following, but this year's queens I need to catch up on. Sorry, my dog is like staring at me and I'm like, just come on the bed, sir.
Come on, Jakey.
Come on.
Come on, sir.
He's so crazy. He hasn't adjusted. He's still adjusting. It's only been like 3 days I've been here. Um
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, I don't understand why I don't have the entire like house to roam around. Why I'm
Oh,
confined.
poor Jake.
He's a little
I
guy.
For my trash, last week I had watched episode 1 of Hazbin Hotel.
Mhm.
I went on to I was in order to get RuPaul's Drag Race, the websites you have to go down are so filled with ads if you are not going to play MTV Viacom's little game. But to
Mhm.
watch cartoons still, there is still the Naruto Sasuke website.
There's
They
nothing better.
they will take care of you. That image of Naruto and Sasuke with a little bonus for a Chromecast player. Um, so I watched all of Hazbin Hotel.
How did you like it?
That is it blew me into the past. Well into the past. I was thrown into it feels like Tumblr. And for good and for worse, just Tumblr City.
That's so
Everything
crazy.
is the art is Tumblr. It is so lore heavy with no there is a story, but no one is going through the motions of a story. They're just going through the like beats of a story. There's so much
Interesting.
lore, and it is problematique.
How's it problematic? Tell me, tell me, tell me.
Oh, it's just like it's a story again. Like but it's got all the classic like Tumblr controversies of yore. Um like I mean just all the good ones like too much swearing, uh the characters are there's a character that's a sex worker but isn't the right kind of sex worker, and it's glorifying pimp culture. There's one of the characters is Cajun, and there's voodoo symbols. And yeah, the problematic nature of making voodoo into iconography for hell and evil. There's yeah, there's probably some age gap stuff that's problematic. It's just not like explicit, but they're like, oh, this 1600-year-old is dating a 400-year-old, or like
That's
something
very
stupid
funny.
like that.
Hmm.
It's just all the classic, and then the creator, they're like going after the creator for like like the creator is transphobic, the creator is racist, the creator is just all the classic Tumblr era. Yeah, it's just feeling like wow, we got it again, fam. We're back in
That's so
Tumblr
funny. We're
times.
so back. It's no longer Jover.
Is the Puritans are back in action. They didn't have anything to gun for a while. They chased all the trans women of color off of the internet. They've
That's so funny.
they'd allied themselves with conservative legislatures. They banned sexual and reproductive health products. But they got Hazbin Hotel back, and they can go to war. We can fight a new battle.
That's really funny. It looks like it's so Tumblr. It like look. It looks very Tumblr sexy man esque. It's very angular.
Yes, yes, and the colors are very bright. And yeah, it's I can safely say in the trash or treasure binary,
Mhm.
it is trash. Like I
That's so
don't
funny.
have like positive critical angles. Even Hell of a Boss I can respect in certain ways because they do try to have like a fun spunky thing going on. But
Mhm.
this one's it's just lore on lore. So much lore.
That's crazy. I haven't watched any of it. I've only heard people talk about it, and more. Who's the showrunner or the creator?
Vivzy Pop.
Pop. I
Or
think. Yeah,
I
go
think
on.
it's Vivian Madrano, technically. But
Okay. I think they went to SVA. I'm not sure. Either the Hell of a Boss or the Hazbin Hotel. One of them went to SVA. I don't
they're the
remember which
same
one.
person.
And
They're one and
and
the
either they went to
same.
SVA or they didn't go to SVA. I can't tell you. I'm
I
pretty sure they did. Um,
let's do a fact check before we get roasted for our lack of
yeah,
knowledge about
honestly.
Vivzy Pop. Um, yes, Vivian Madrano. A Vivzy Pop, short animated, blah blah blah, personal life. Yes, attended the School of Visual Arts.
That's right because what year does it say what year before I like say the wrong thing?
Apparently, da, 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 graduated in 2014, so 2 years
Yeah.
ahead of us.
Yeah, I remember seeing their work in like the animation showcase or something like that a couple times back when I was a young college person and my dog and it was really good. It was really stylish. So I can like even from then I was like this is the kids are going to eat this up. and the kids did and continue to.
And they do. Yeah.
And
They
I
can't
honestly
stop,
give it
won't
to kids.
stop.
Sometimes you need a little bit of like problematic cartoon, just a little bit.
For a well-balanced diet, you need a little problematic cartoon for a treat.
Exactly. Like I used to watch China, Illinois,
Oh
when
yeah.
I was a little guy, and I'm if I remember correctly, there was some problematic stuff with that too. I don't remember
I
what,
think
but
it's
I remember there
expressly
was.
problematic.
Huh?
I think it's expressly like problematic. Like it's diving into that little nook and cranny.
Yeah, exactly. So it helps. It's like chicken soup for the soul. A little problematic cartoon.
Yeah, so you know, everyone watch some more problematic cartoons. That's our recommendation for everyone.
Exactly. I think the new season of Clone High came out pretty recently, so there's some problematic cartoon for you.
I that was a weird. It was an interesting first season of the reboot of that show. I
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I need to.
the magic was not popping. Not it was. I know a bunch of wonderful people who worked on it, but you know sometimes you reboot and the original spark is not quite there.
Hmm.
I always
Interesting.
love we have the vantage point of knowing like some very creative genius people, and sometimes they work together on like these cartoons and media properties, which is always just like a mess of just tangling so many creative visions. And I think it's always fascinating like when it like hits and it like pulls off, and then sometimes it's like, oh, this was a wild. I mean, the fact that anything gets made is astonishing to me, really. But yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
Hmm.
Name
Hmm.
and nature of the
I
game.
agree with you. But when
Sometimes
it
get
does work,
canceled,
it's like
sometimes you don't.
very magical. What did you say?
Oh, I said sometimes you get canceled, sometimes you don't.
There you go. And that is it's exactly like I said earlier. Either sometimes you go to SBA and other times you don't go to SBA. It is either you do or you do not.
We're all about binaries on this podcast. We love binaries. Bring back more binaries. The world has
More
too much
binaries.
nuanced thinking.
The non-binary wants more binary. Give
We
me
have
more.
a. Oh, go ahead.
No, go on. I just was quoting Britney Spears. Just give me more.
Give me more. Give me more. We have a listener question um,
Ooh.
from a friend of the show. Uh, you haven't even gotten to meet her yet. And she already likes you a lot more than she likes me. But
What?
beloved local Boise drag queen Coco Frio rolled in to our DMs when I said, "Hey, does anyone have any questions for the pod?" And Coco wrote, "Why is Vannotes one of the hosts?"
That's so funny. Honestly, because I asked around and nobody else wanted to do a podcast with me.
So I was at the bottom of the list.
You no, you weren't at the bottom of the list. But
It's mid
everybody
tier.
else was like, podcast. Everybody has a podcast. And you were like, hell yeah. And I love that energy.
I think in a larger like existential scope or whatever, why am I one of the hosts? I do think we lost our first episode where we actually like introduced ourselves to our listeners and
Yeah.
explained
May it rest in peace.
why we wanted to do it. Thankfully it did die because I realized like several weeks later I went down a tangent of how Yetis were better than Sasquatches, and I realized there was some colorism involved in my commentary. So
That's
maybe
so
my
funny.
long, drawn out, like just like yeah, like I like the white yetis, you know, and yeah, that's probably best to like leave in the like in the abyss. But I think we do actually, we come from very different backgrounds in a lot of different ways, and we have a lot of things that like unify us and have like a lot of like shared interests, but we do like have very different perspectives of the world based on like who we are and what our
Mm-hmm.
like different perspectives are. So I think that's why I do like talking to you a lot, like just as a
Aww.
human being, is you like, and I also feel like if I had like a totally wrong take, like you would like steer me back into like actual thoughtfulness. And then sometimes you let me just go buck wild, and the cards will fall where they will. But
It's fun. I mean, like, you're always very fun to talk to, and I think you're very smart and introspective. And when you do go buck wild, it's always very funny. So I'm like, truly, yeah. Let the cards fall out they may. It's never been anything like, like catastrophic or bad. It's always been funny. Because in your heart, you're a little good guy. So it's always fine.
yeah, and I think there's some not. I was sounding. I don't like how I have had like. I don't want to say I'm like Dave Chappelle or anything, but there is
Oh,
like
so
a
funny.
certain part of me that is like kind of just craving like actual conversation where like people have convictions. This
Hmm.
is where we go back into like boomer territory again. But just the idea of like, hey, we want to have real conversations and we are from very different places and we may like step on each other's toes sometimes, but like we both, I had like the realization like that we are flawed individuals who are trying to do our best and like coming together like in order to have conversations so that we have better understanding. Like I find myself more attracted to that like more and more
Hmm.
lately, not in a like Joe. It's so hard because it's like that's also the things like Joe Rogan and like Dave Chappelle say, but really they just want to like get in fights or whatever and
Yeah, they
like
just want to argue. And I think it's very different because, like, both of us have the introspection and the ability to recognize, like, our worldview may not always be correct. And I think
yeah.
Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan are so stuck in, like, oh, like, I clearly can see what the world is and I clearly can be right and see all these other people who are wrong. Like,
Mm,
they are so stuck on this like idea of like what is correct when there is like that it doesn't really exist in the real world.
yeah. And it's I we I'm leading a book club discussion on um oh gosh, I'm totally blanking on the book's title right now, which is terrible because I'm doing an entire. Uh, oh, here we go. Gotcha. I had the book right in front of me. A Day in the Life of Abd Salama, a
Mm-hmm.
Palestine story. Um, or I think another subtitle is Anatomy of a Jerusalem Tragedy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a very difficult book, and you know, in you know the genocide of Palestine right now is likely to be one of the most like politically divisive like conflicts probably since the Vietnam War, like globally
Yeah.
in
Mm-hmm.
um, and in our like consciousness. And discussing a book that's very explicitly about that was with a group of like very different people was really enlightening last night. Like we did a book club discussion on the first half, and I kind of came in and I knew like because of my role, I work with international students at the college. You know, if I spoke the entire time, like it wouldn't allow people the freedom to express themselves. But I did like very upfront like set some certain ground rules of the University of Michigan had some really good like ground rules of like talking about military conflict.
Mm.
And so like yeah, and just saying like, hey, like it's okay to debate um ideas, but we don't have to debate the character of like other people. And also talking about one of the things that actually limited the tomfoolery of the conversation was saying don't speculate. And I was
Ooh.
surprised at how much that limited, yeah, just silly statements like, you know, people should just do this or people should just do that and it would be fixed. Or like, why, you know, and of course, in like talking about a conflict, like, why don't they just all get along? Like,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and instead focusing on like, oh, these are the logistics of why people can't come together on this issue or that issue. Or when we don't know something, we're going to look it up. Like having that as explicitly as like part of the conversation, like saying like, hey, like if we don't know something, we're going to look it up instead of saying like, I saw this on Facebook or I heard this.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, dialogue, discussion, old people things, not trash.
Truly, treasure, 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 treasure.
uh, it was nice. It was a very good conversation we had last night.
That's
Um,
good.
and we're going to have a good conversation now about Avengers Grimm.
That's so funny. So a little background before you get into it. Um with Avengers Grimm, I was sitting on my couch or at my not my couch, my friend's couch, to establish couch ownership. My friend's couch, and we were just like trying to figure out a movie to watch when Avengers Grimm is advertised to us out of like nowhere, a purpose of nothing. And we were like, what is this? What in the world could this be? And I've seen my share of horror movie mockbusters. Like just the Amityville horror like title stuff like that, the ghost of Spooky Ookie Island and stuff like that.
Sharknado.
Yes. And I but this one just felt so earnest. Like they were really trying, and that made it 10 million times more interesting, but ultimately I still thought it was boring. But I saw it and I was like, a Chase or Van has made me watch two films now. Two films for like episodes that I in that for one reason or another just I ended up not having anything to do with. And now it was my turn, so I was like, if I have to watch this terrible film, then Van must suffer too. Van must watch. I'm very
And
oh okay.
I had the best time. I had a hoot and a half.
A hoot and a half.
I didn't suffer at all.
That's so funny.
I yeah, and even to go farther backwards into the lore, into the story of how we arrived at the Avengers Grimm.
Mm-hmm.
Uh Wren was trying to pitch several trash movies to me that I then looked up, and they had a 80+% rating on the Rotten Tomatoes. And I had to remind Wren of the conceit of this podcast, which is that we do talk about trash.
Yeah, but trash is so subjective. Like a movie could get a high rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but that doesn't make it not trash.
I
But
mean,
I conceded.
it's
I
true.
conceded.
But I had such a wonderful time watching this franchise. Did you watch all three films in the franchise?
No, I had some internet issues. I want to watch the rest of them still just cuz I'm so curious, but I was only able to watch one. So I'm excited to hear
Oh,
your thoughts, your notes.
so I to give the listeners an idea of what Avengers Grimm is, we are not just like combining of Avengers with the word Grimm willy-nilly.
Mhm.
We're talking about a mockbuster franchise of 3 films. Unfortunately, they haven't come out with a recent one, which I'm sad if that means the franchise is dead and we get no further installments. But the 3 films are Avengers Grimm, which was to simultaneously release with Avengers Age of Ultron. It was it was in that mockbuster, like kind of taking advantage of like whatever's currently coming out and rapidly making a movie to match up and try and get people to buy it at Walmart or stream it on Tubi or whatever. We
Mhm.
have Avengers Grimm, and then Sinister Squad, which was a Suicide Squad spinoff, and then we have Avengers Grimm Time Wars, which was a spinoff of the Infinity Saga Gem War. I
Jim
can't even
Moore.
remember what those movies are called. Um, but yeah, so you have these films. They have the word Avengers and Squad in them. And but they're not superheroes, they are fairy tale characters.
Yes. Yes, they are. And I think like so jumping into it, some of the costuming I think really threw me off because like you have these ideas of what these characters look like and they were like, "You know what? This is a low budget movie. Who absolutely cares? We sure don't. Cinderella, purple hair. It fits, it makes sense. Not a shoe in sight." That like kept tripping me up. I a whole time my friends and I were like, "Is this a bad wig or is this a good
Oh no. Have I lost Red? I lost Red. Ren, where are you?
No."
Oh, you're still here. Now I can hear you. But you were saying about the wigs. The wigs were good or bad, a binary.
It's true. They were in true binary fashion, good or bad. The character acting was confusing. There was like it just so many weird choices and like the main for the Avengers Grimm, the kind of main character was Snow White and they made her into like this like girl boss badass like I drive like a Ford Mustang, get in my car, like that
Every
kind of
every
uh-huh.
woman is a strong female protagonist, like to the
Exactly,
max. Like
exactly.
that stat is raised all the way to the top.
It's so funny. It was just so funny. And I wish like just in the very opening of the movie or the very very beginning, we find out that Snow White's husband has been killed by Rumpelstiltskin and like his head has been cut off or something like that, I think. But we don't really see it. And I wish to the high heavens above that we got to see like what their like low budget decapitated head would look like. Oh, that's so funny. A little thumbs up popped up by you. That's so funny. Um but yeah, I wish like they really they had the budget for some special effects, not a lot, not very many, not any good ones, but I wish they could have pushed it with the practical effects more. I feel like so many like good, so bad they're good B movies are good because of the practical effects.
Mhm.
And if they had leaned into that, it would have been so much like more fun. I don't know. I love a practical effect.
I really loved that it felt like I was at Comic Con. Like all the costuming was like we're cosplayers. Like that
Exactly.
was kind of the
Exactly.
vibe. Like it's like I'm gonna wear my cool Huntress Red Riding Hood cosplay and hang around Comic Con all day. That was really the character vibe. I really struggled with so there's 4 main princesses, then there's Little Red Riding Hood, and there's a strange class division between them, uh,
Yes. What was that
which
about?
is It was very like Little Red Riding Hood isn't magic, so she can get taken over by Rumpelstiltskin's cursey stuff. But
Mhm.
so you have like Rapunzel, Snow White, uh, Little Red Riding Hood off
Aurora.
to the side. Uh, no, Sleeping Beauty. Aurora's, I believe, copyright trademark Disney House of Mouse, to my knowledge.
Oh right, this girl's name was Briar Rose, right?
Maybe. But I think they, yeah, I don't. The one thing is they did not say the characters' names enough at each other at the beginning of the movie, so it never really cemented in my head who they were. But I also couldn't tell Snow White and Cinderella what the difference in their powers were. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, and
a lot of
Sleeping
them had the
Beauty.
same
I
powers.
couldn't tell. Like, and then it's like, okay, so eventually I was like, so Snow White's ice, but also Sleeping Beauty is making people sleep, and that seems to be ice
Exactly.
too? Because
They
she's
were
also
I
Elsa.
exactly. I remember distinctly like a scene where there are two cops and they're like, "Ooh, it's getting kind of chilly," and then she like puts them to sleep, and I was like, "What does that have to do with each other?" I'm so curious. I'm so confused. I want to know why cold equals sleepy.
And Cinderella apparently just has the power to turn things into other things because of the fairy godmother or something. But it's
Something like that.
totally, her character was the most like the entire time. Why are you here? What are you doing? Like,
And why was her hair purple?
just that's your purple hair is what you got as a character, apparently.
Hmm.
Not even like blade shoes.
Blade shoes. That's so funny. I'm just imagining ice skates.
Yeah, or like I mean Cinderella like throwing pumpkins around or control of mice, or I don't know,
Mhm.
like.
It would be cool if it was mice control.
But yeah, so the characters all come from like their magical storybook world, and then they come up to like, remember in the 80s when like whenever everyone was in like a city in a movie, like it was fucked up. Like
I do
the
remember that.
Ninja Turtles, like New York was just like, oh yeah, New York is like, it was that kind of vibe. And they come into Los Angeles and it's like, man, LA is like dystopian, like. But then they would cut
And
away and it like wasn't very scary looking. Like was like the least scary looking LA you could photograph.
exactly. And like they were like, "Oh, it's so we have to like sneak underground and there's like this underground rebellion." But they like made Rumpelstiltskin the mayor, but everybody kept calling him Your Honor, like he was a judge. And so the whole movie I was like, is he a judge or what? Is he a judge or is he not a judge?
Well, I think mayors can be your honor. They're normally like the
Really?
honorable mayor. Like that's how I've heard like like mayors addressed in like, I don't know, certain settings.
I don't know anything about mayors.
Let's
I'm
see.
not a
Do
mayor
you
guy.
address mayors as your honor? According the internet.com is just giving me a TV show because um Google doesn't give any answers anymore. It just
No, it's worse. Google is
it,
much worse than it used to be.
let's see. Dignitaries and people. I know there's premier cabinet speaker, blah 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 blah. This is Canada.
Canada
Oh,
doesn't.
in Canada, the mayor is his worship.
That's weird.
That's wild.
That's too
His
kingly
worship.
for a lowly mayor.
This is something I just want to briefly touch on. That like modern day Instagram feminist like fantasy writers
Mhm.
really hate Rumpelstiltskin. Like,
I know.
just
Ever since Once Upon a Time, they were like Rumpelstiltskin. That guy, no way. It's over. It's over for him. In Once Upon a Time, I got it. I kind of got it because he was like interwoven with a bunch of other people's stories. But in these like new fantasy stories, he's just like a guy. He's just some guy. He's not even eating babies like he's supposed to.
yeah, he's just a weird, nasty dude. Like,
Exactly.
he he's like the cipher for like just bad jerk dude.
Sorry. I hope you liked my face when my laptop almost fell off my lap. My eyes got really big. Um yeah, and in Avengers Grimm, they didn't even make him that yucky of a guy. He just looked like a regular dude, just like a
Yeah.
regular guy. And they were like, Rumpelstiltskin, you're so evil. And he's like, yeah, right. Yeah, I am. I killed your husband. And and also we didn't even know the husband, so I didn't care. I didn't care at all. I'm like, why should I care? Who's this husband? I haven't met him.
Yeah, it's interesting. I that character, like, in fiction. Also, in my mind, like, when I think of Rumpelstiltskin, it's just like a nasty little man. Like a
Exactly.
nasty little old man, like just like baby,
And I
baby,
imagine
baby.
it's all greasy and shiny, but that's because of Once Upon a Time.
Like, I
Have you
don't
seen Once
have
Upon a Time?
no, I have not gone into that realm.
Chase, you're missing out.
Just I can't go there. The Disney, like, really makes me like violently mad lately. Like the
Yeah,
Disney extended like
universe.
ecosystem, like the
Mhm,
parks and the cruises and like that whole like self mythologizing is
mhm.
real nasty to me.
That's totally fair. Once Upon a Time is a garbage TV show, um, and that is why I liked it so much. I like to make fun of it. It's about a little orphan who has no friends, and you understand why she doesn't have friends the whole show. You're like, oh, okay, I get it. You're like this, so that's why I understand. And she's
So
not even an
shamey.
orphan. Not to spoil the show, but she's co-opting on orphan culture.
The Rachel Dolezal of orphans.
Exactly.
uh just to give you a heads up of what you can look forward to, uh, you get Sinister Squad, which Rumpelstiltskin then becomes Jared Leto Joker.
Oh, I cannot wait. Ooh, I cannot wait for that.
Just like being nasty and like yeah, like just the most overacting and like the Lorlo guy that I always send you, like the fedora wearing dude who's always like my kitten, like
Oh,
that
yes, 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 yes,
energy.
yes.
It's that. Like the actor is like in full like fedora energy mode.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness. He's a Discord mod.
And do you want spoilers of who Harley Quinn is?
Ooh, I don't
It's
know.
revealed
I
like
like
20 minutes in.
Okay, yeah, tell me.
Harley Quinn is the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh my god. That's so funny. At least so they weren't fully copying Once Upon a Time because Rumpelstiltskin's inexplicable love interest is Belle. He's the beast in Once Upon a
What?
Time. Yeah, Once Upon a Time
Oh, that's
is
nasty.
fucked. It's a that show doesn't make a lick of sense. Not a singular lick.
The coolest introduction of the Sinister Squad is, do you know Amanda Waller, like within the like DC universe? Like she
No.
oversees the Suicide Squad. Viola
Oh wait,
Davis, I
yes,
think,
yes, yes,
plays
yes,
her.
yes.
Yeah, and she's like I'm gonna keep you in line and blow you up if you like make a move or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
that character in Suicide Squad is replaced by a actress who is doing her best, and she
Oh
is doing like peak Doctor Who cosplayer um energy, Alice in Wonderland. And
no.
she is the
Oh.
leader of the Suicide Squad. And she is just being a little quirky and like going around and like, tee hee hee, I'm going to blow you up if you defy me or whatever.
Is she British? Is she like real British or fake British?
She's not real British. She has watched too much Doctor Who British.
Oh no. I am not good at doing a British accent. But I love doing one. I'm not gonna do it now because I've hyped it up too much. But it'll come out. It'll come out later. But like nothing makes me happier than a bad British accent in like a long form piece of media. Like you're gonna have to do it for like an hour kind of way.
Also, the Mad Hatter is just like Shaggy from Scooby Doo, but his power is like he can like see things by like tripping out on
That's so
his like
funny.
teas and stuff.
I can't
And
wait.
they
I'm Should I even bother rewatching Avengers Grimm or should I just jump right into Sinister Squad?
just jump right into Sinister Squad because there's not overlap until Avengers Grimm Time Wars, which is
Okay.
not as fun as either of the first two. But it
Okay.
does bring
Okay.
them together.
I can't wait for Sinister Squad. This is giving it new light in my heart.
It is also a movie where they just rented a warehouse or something.
That's so funny.
Like or like an old hospital or something that's like been converted into this set for just movies.
That's really
And
funny. I can't wait.
it's very clear they're just like hanging out there for like a week or two to like shoot this
Hanging
movie.
out. That's so funny. So there aren't like in Avengers Grimm, there were different locations. There were like at least three or four.
No, no, absolutely not.
They got rid of the locations.
There is one location and it is just like insane asylum haunted house. Like
That's
that's
really
that's
funny.
the location. And then well there's a few shots like outside of it, but most of the movie is just in there. And they're also fighting death. Like not like any character, just death itself, like
The
possessing
concept.
entities. And he's doing a weird thing where he's just like a wacky like East Coaster. He's like a wacky Seinfeld guy.
I
Like
can't wait.
and,
Oh,
and
I
that's
cannot
the
wait.
this is the guy we're supposed to think is like the villain and supposed to be terrifying and pretty much the devil because he rules the underworld, like, and he hates Rumpelstiltskin for some reason.
That's so funny. I mean, we all hate Rumpelstiltskin for whatever reason.
You know, I feel nothing towards him. I
You feel nothing. That's so funny. He's a known baby devourer. Are you pro baby eating?
like, do we have to get on a binary of Rumpelstiltskin?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Absolutely. You're either for him, which includes like pro consumption of babies, or you're against him, which is like the good side, obviously, the morally sound side.
I would like to be a problematic fan who like ships him with like some other nasty little gremlin man. Like,
So
I
funny.
try to think if there's like ship him with like Geppetto, creator of Pinocchio, and then be
That's
like,
so
they're
funny.
two gay dads raising their little boy. Like,
That's so funny. Poor Geppetto.
so
He
what if he
deserves
eats
better.
babies? He's a good guy.
That's
Coffee shop
Jail.
AU.
Coffee shop AU. You're so lucky I'm in my new little apartment and I can't just scream.
Your neighbors will know one day. So
So funny. I'm trying. I'm doing my best to be a regular person, just a normal guy.
they know they'll have a podcaster neighbor soon. When you all have brewskies on the stoop or whatever.
Brewskies. So
Some
funny.
barley pops.
Barley pops. I'm an East Coast elite. I'm gonna have my Cosmopolitan and call it an afternoon.
Or the new millennial Bud Light, a White Claw.
So funny. Ugh. All of those are so gross.
Too sugar for me.
I thought they were pretty. They thought they were supposed to be sugar free.
They taste like nasty.
Oh,
They taste like headache to me. So
headache.
I can taste the oncoming headache when I have one of those.
That's so funny.
So
You poor thing. That's how you know you're old.
but I can like drink actual alcohol. Like it's just that's just like sugar alcohol. Like it's not. It's like a Angry Orchard or whatever.
I used to love Angry Orchards. They were so good.
You and my dad, you can bond over an Angry Orchard.
So funny. I used to drink Four Locos, 40s, and Angry Orchards. Really like across the gambit.
You know what? I can't lie. Two of those I also indulged in, but not the Angry Orchards. So
I told my dad that I used to drink 40s, and he was like, "What is wrong with you?" He was so like disgusted. He was like, "I raised you better than that."
oh no.
I'm like, sometimes you
Familial
just
shame.
truly. I'm like, it's just a 40. It's just a cheap beer, and he was like, "That is the problem. That being how you see it is the problem."
Did you have anyone? This was a trend at our college for a little bit of people wanting to go like over the top at parties and doing the Edward 40 hands challenge.
Yes, of course, absolutely. Who didn't do an Edward 40 hands?
I didn't, but I watched many attempt and fail.
So funny. I think I did it for like a very brief period of time because when I drink, it makes me have to pee almost immediately. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this has to go. I have to pee and I need my hands.
We
I
had
was
some
too
very
sober to
devoted,
let somebody help me.
so devoted that they were like, okay, you need to go help me pee like now so I can finish this challenge.
That's so funny. That's so crazy.
A community came together.
A community. Oh my goodness. Well, now I know. I need to have a 40 and watch Sinister Squad.
Yeah, really, really live life in bougie luxury.
Exactly.
On that note, on our tales of college times, drinking quality beverages, we would like to thank you for listening to Your Trash Pals. You can follow the podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all those places. Our live Twitch streams are normally hosted on Mondays. Wren just had caveman internet problems.
I did.
And episodes normally go up on Thursday. We try our best here on the pod.
We'll see when this one comes up. It will
We'll see.
hopefully it'll be huh?
Oh, when the Lord calls it home.
Exactly. Probably Monday.
Yeah.
So you'll get
to back it.
Yeah, it'll be a gift. Probably before Monday. Let's be realistic here. Because I have the weekend, but Monday at the latest. It depends on my internet's like stability. But anyway, you can follow me at vren.psd and Vannotes on Instagram at Vannotes Books. I almost said at Instagram Books, but no, Vannotes Books. And you can buy Vannotes' latest book on bookshop.org.
Yay. So I'm switching up the fake ad segment.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go this time, and then I'm gonna have us maintain this is a peek behind the curtain of my little bits.
Ooh.
But I'm gonna have us each keep a list of topics to do fake ads for, and then go
Okay.
back and forth. I've listed mine 1 to 10, and so I'm gonna have you choose a number, and then I have to do an ad for it.
Okay. I will do my favorite number of
Oh,
all time.
one in
Oh,
1 to 10.
1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Well, my,
I got 10 jotted down here.
okay. My favorite number is 7. So it's a good
Are
number.
you serious?
Yeah, 7's my favorite number.
Because the one I wrote was 40 ounces.
That's so funny. That's so funny. I'm psychic.
I genuinely can't believe it's in the zeitgeist that Edward 40 Hands challenge is back. Um, everyone's having their friends help them pee. But oh, okay, yeah, I need to do an ad for it now. This is
Yeah.
our new improvisational comedy challenge. Yeah, so if you want to be like the Trash Pals and you want to crack a 40 and pour some for your boys, if you need to commemorate those lost to the earth, and pour one out for them, if you need to get drunk on a budget and you have a gas station in somewhat of a proximity to you, then 40 ounces are for you. You can hold one in each hand, and if you duct tape them to your hands, then you will be forced to drink them, especially if you do not have friends to take the duct tape off. And then your hands will hurt once you have duct tape these alcoholic beverages to your hands. So I don't know who makes 40 ounces. I don't know what brand. I
Yeah, I
don't
have no
even look
idea.
at the label. I just get the tall boys and crack them and drink them. They're not like a Modelo with any amount of class with a gold foil wrapping. You just get them and crack them. So you too can do that. You can be like your Trash Pals.
Yeah, influencing the youth.
Yeah, by alcohol's bad for you. I think we're legally required by the FCC to
Yes,
say that or something.
it is bad for you. It kills your brain cells.
And so, on that note, remember to
Remember to reduce,
reduce, reuse,
reuse,
and
and
recycle your 40
recycle. Yay!
ounces.
Bye.
Truly the wildest gamut of conversation.
Truly.